We literally don't know who we're playing. So all the focus is how can we get better and how can we take it up a notch going into these playoffs.
Your contributions have steadily kind of risen as the regular season came to a close. How much of that is just getting comfortable with people and them knowing where you want? I mean, what has been the reason behind that, do you think?
I think it's just getting back into a groove. Prior to the break, the Olympic break, I was out with my knee, so I hadn't played with the Lynx in 2 months, with a month with the Olympic break, and then the month I was out before. So it's really just getting back into the groove, allowing my teammates to kind of relearn how I play and me relearn how they play. Sil and I are almost polar opposites on how we play. So it's a lot to adjust. You can't just put anyone behind Sylvia and expect them to be Sylvia Fowles. So I think it's just taking the time to get to know each other and to continue to ramp up and find ways that I can contribute that are different than Syl.
Jace, go ahead.
Teams want to be peaking this time of year. How good do you feel like this team is right now, and how good do you feel about where it's at entering into these playoffs?
I'm so excited to see where we're at and every day how we compete in practice and how we get better. Like I said before, this week is great for us to continue to focus on us, to continue to rise and challenge ourselves to be better. When you get into a playoff time, everybody knows everyone's plays. You call it a play and they're calling out the same play because they already know it. So fine-tuning details and how we can challenge ourselves to just play basketball. When you get to that level, when you get to this time of the year, it's how can you steal possessions? How can you break a play to make a play?
How intently will you be watching the games tomorrow night?
Well, Cheryl just said the one is after our bedtime, so exactly. We might miss the end, but playoff basketball is fun regardless of who's playing. So we'll definitely be tuned in to know who we're playing, but also just to watch good basketball.
Jack, go ahead.
So Cheryl has praised, especially the bench unit, for how hard you guys work, just as collaboratively with watching video and skill development and correcting mistakes you've made in a previous game. Just as the leader of the second unit, just how much pride do you take in kind of instilling those winning habits in some of the younger bench players?
An immense amount of pride. Knowing that we want to come in and we don't want to have a drop off. Like you have all-stars, you have defensive player of the year on your team. You have players that are coming in and competing and that are leading the league. And so when we focus on coming in the second unit, we want to make sure there's no drop off. And we want to make sure that it's any chance that we do get that we're pushing our team forward and that we're continuing to help make us better in that game, in that possession, and whatever it is. And when we can steal, like I said, steal possessions, steal moments in a game, 2 points matter in the playoffs. So any chance that we can get to keep that level and pushing forward is that's where our pride lies in that second group.
And then you just said, in the playoffs where you have to break a play to make a play. And we've seen you position a lot at the elbow, kind of in that two-woman game, no matter what perimeter play. Just how for you personally to kind of get back in your rhythm and like what you said, just really being able to contribute more, as the season has kind of goes in the last month or so.
I mean, that's who I am and who I've always been as a player. I might not show up on the stat sheet in rebounds and stuff, but those kind of contributions is where I relish and that I love. Being able to make the quick pass and a backdoor cut or set my teammates up with a good screen. I know that's my role and I know that's where I can really contribute. So being able to play in that flow once again, getting used to my teammates getting used to me and being able to contribute that way is that's what I love.
And then when you look back at the regular season as a whole, just what do you think has prepared everybody, not just yourself on this team, to really be successful in the next
46?
The ebbs and flows. I mean, us having to worry about rotations on who you're playing with this day, who you're not playing with that day because of injuries or because of whatever the circumstance may be. I feel like that has prepared us the most for playoff time because that's how a game goes. You go on runs, other teams go on runs, and you have to be able to come back and compete and dig yourself out of holes sometimes. So I think knowing that we've had that mentality, that fight, that grit all season long, it's only going to make us that more special when we come out and use that mentality in the playoffs.
All right, we'll move to questions to the Zoom. Jim, go ahead.
45.
Yeah, just tell me what it's meant to this team to have Ariel kind of show up and be healthy and be dynamic the last couple of weeks.
Where's this? Can you say that one more time?
Yeah, I'm interested in your perspective on what it's meant for this team to have Ariel Powers really come on strong the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, Ariel can score in many different ways. She's gritty, she's feisty. She can get to the rim. She can shoot the pull-up. So her really feeling comfortable and getting in a flow really helps us, especially the past couple games when she's scoring 20+ points. I mean, that's how you win a basketball game. You score more than the other team. So having her be able to come out and be an offensive threat takes off pressure off of Sil, takes off pressure off of Feet, having to do it all themselves. So she's been really great for us going into these playoff games.
Danny, did you have any questions?
Sure. Kind of expanding on that, Nat, can you talk about kind of Aerial Powers' role off the court, just in terms of her hype and the energy she brings to the team in the locker room?
Yeah, even if you don't even know Ariel, you know that she brings that energy, she brings that hype, and I think that really gets us going, especially at home games, and that even boosts our advantage because she's getting the crowd rowdy, she's getting us rowdy, and she's really bringing that energy. So that's something that we need, especially when you have a team that's so kind of focused and can be internal sometimes. She really drags it out of us and really pushes us to be outside of ourselves.
Great, thank you, Nat.
Great. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Charlie.
43.
All right, everybody, I'm coming in with Coach. We'll start with questions in person and then move to the Zoom. Kate, go ahead.
Obviously, the rotation tightens come playoff time. I know that in the final regular season game, you kind of went 7.5 in terms of rotations because it was such a big game. I mean, is that what we're going to expect kind of going forward? Is this going to be pretty tight like that?
That's an assumption about playoffs for sure. I think that's a tendency, but I don't necessarily know that you could sit here and predetermine that. I think that would not be prudent. Hang on one second, okay? I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
48.
So the mindset will be, what's the game call for?
Right.
So that's more like open-minded, but you're in a single elimination game. So the tendency is to, just like with Washington and their group, when you're a winner, go home, that is a tendency.
Right. When you look at Ariel's numbers as the regular season ended, she was just going to upward kind of crescendo.
Yeah.
How much of that is just getting comfortable with this group, and how much of that is finally maybe getting to 100%, or is it a combination?
Yeah, probably a combination, but I just think being out there, there wasn't quality work for AP through really at any point in time when she was on the floor in the beginning of the season. There was no quality work, quality time. It was more just kind of surviving. It's not the place you want to be in. Certainly, for me as a coach and for her as a player, that's not the situation you want to be in, but that's where we were. And then just never got any rhythm with that. And then got really good, quality time in terms of conditioning, preparing her body. So therefore, when she was playing, the work was more quality. So I think it was an evolution of being able to kind of get more reps. I think it's true for any player. The reps weren't there in the beginning. And I think she has a better understanding of our team and who we are and what we're trying to do. Whereas I don't think she had that in the beginning.
How much of an X factor can that be? Somebody who can score as many different ways as she can score, and obviously the volume, which she can score in the burst, which she can score in the playoffs.
It's huge. I mean, teams want this. Teams want a player that can, score in a variety of ways. You might be able to, take something away, but AP has the dynamic nature to her game that, you want to, if you wanted to take away, a ball screen in a certain direction, she knows, don't fight it, go the other way, and just really gifted. Plays with instinct, whatever's there. And you have to trust that, as a team and as a coaching staff, you have to trust because she's going to do things that you didn't know that were going to be available because, she's that dynamic. So every team wants that. And we're thankful that we have that because, this team absolutely needs a player like that.
It seems like people have kind of adjusted to playing with her at first because she has the ball so much.
Yep.
There was a lot of, I thought, watching, like look at Ariel and go.
Yeah.
But they're kind of moving, and I think they're realizing where she wants picks. I mean, it seems like it's kind of starting to come together that way.
Yeah, it's exactly what we hope for, dealing with the big injury that kept her out for so long that, we felt fortunate that we still had 10 games left. And we were really purposeful in our evolution that we didn't just throw AP right back into the starting lineup and right back into the heat before she was ready. And we just really wanted to bring her along. I forget which game it was that we said it's time for AP to start. And and let's get where we're going. So it just kind of worked out great for us to be able to use the regular season to get her into this place that she's in now.
Like you said, like she'll do things that you didn't even know were going to be there. Especially in the playoffs, like now you're just talking about, just like you get in the playoffs and everybody literally is calling out each other's plays because everybody knows it at that point. It's like, is that where you see that even shine on a grander scale? Like somebody who can, maybe, I don't know, zig when you think maybe you're going to zag?
For sure. You also hope your team is able to do that, that somebody takes something away, because that's what playoffs are, your options that you thought would be there or not. But AP has a knack for it, an instinct for it. So really valuable. Team wants to pressure on the perimeter. She can get by the pressure, get fouled. And that's what we saw in the Washington game. And we're going to see as the stakes get even higher.
Do you purely evaluate tomorrow night, or do you root it all, or upset it?
I sit back and wait for, there's no rooting at this point. It's more, we're still kind of, we're going through an audit of ourselves, making sure that we're, these couple of days that we're locked in on ourselves improving and knowing what our identity is. And then, then you just shift on, okay, whatever, what's the card that's been laid, and let's look at it and let's play it.
And kind of going off that, no matter who you play on Sunday, you've either beaten them at full strength or beaten them when your team has not been at full strength. So how much confidence does that give you, your assistants, and the team, especially given that it's a single elimination format?
None, because it's just different. Whatever happened in the regular season it's not relevant. You can take some information in terms of maybe what you found to be successful. Both teams have the video. So it's really, there's not a lot of correlation to that. And yeah, I mean, you basically are starting from scratch. And again, I think both teams probably trying to, live in the space that what they do well. Can you get it against that opponent? If you can't, what's plan B? So I think both teams will be doing that.
And kind of going off of that too, AP said after the last game that she really believes you're a championship team because, your offense to opposing defenses really become a pick your poison thing. You try and take away Sil and B, you've got, Leigh, K-Mac, and Ariel to kind of attack. And do you really think that now that you've kind of got that humming, that's going to really kind of show itself when teams
balance
are going to try and take away?
Yeah, I mean, the teams that have balance and can go to more than one weapon has an advantage for sure. And I think having Leisha back, having certain things that they do well, that brings out a certain feature to Sil. AP and Sil in a two-man game brings out something different. What Fee can do with Sil, something different. And obviously K-Mac, you can't leave her alone while you're worried about those other things. Balance is the name of the game, and when you have that, oftentimes you have a chance to be successful.
And then last one for me, we saw Sil take two really confident mid-range jumpers in that last game.
Yeah.
Especially on nights or a night in the playoffs potentially where you're not able to get her the ball inside as much as you like. Do you think that that's a facet of the game that might come out more? Yeah,
for sure. And that's the thing about Sil. She understands how hard to work. For catches where, she shoots 65%, but the percentage is still good. On the shots that she's taken, and take what they give you. And we don't fight. We work on that. Still works on her mid-range game, and she's confident to step up and take those shots.
We'll go last couple on the Zoom. We'll go Jim and then Danny. Jim, go ahead.
We talked a lot about Ariel's game. What about her personality? How important is it to have a personality like hers going to the playoffs?
Yeah, a fiery player in both directions. I know something about that, so I relate well. I think, I mean, it's I said this when we signed her. It was the personality infusion that I thought was necessary for our team. Our team that we had in the bubble was very steady. The most that we ever did was a fee shimmy. Kind of like that was it. You need someone that can kind of create this dislike. Like be a good opponent that people just kind of get up for, get ready for, get annoyed with. Yeah, I mean, that's all stuff that we wanted. And now don't tell AP she's annoying at all, but it's on our side. We're okay with it.
And we'll go last question to Danny. Danny, go ahead.
That was mine. Hi, Cheryl. Nothing.
Hi there, Danny.
Alrighty, well,
that was it.
We're off.
Thanks, everybody.
Please, apparently.